The playoffs are here, and you can predict the action all the way to the finals with FanDuel Predicts. Predict the spread, the total points, and even the game-winning moments that make the playoffs. Sign up and get a $25 bonus with FanDuel Predicts.
Offered by FanDuel Prediction Markets, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant. 18-plus bonus is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Trading derivatives involves significant risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Manage your activity with their consumer protection tools. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/predicts/bonus-offer-terms.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Thursday, April 23rd. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Sunshine today. We're going to hit a high 73. Tonight and overnight, partly cloudy, low 54. And then for Friday, clouds in the morning, sunshine in the afternoon, high 64. If you're walking out the door with us right now, 43 and clear in Hempstead out on Long Island, 40 and partly cloudy in Little Falls over in New Jersey, and it's 43 and clear right outside our Midtown studios.
This is the Top 5 at 5.
The White House waits to hear back from Iran about making peace. Wait till you hear about how dirty the air is here. We're learning more about the dad that abandoned his baby in Times Square. Someone is killing geese out on Long Island. And car owners across the tri-state are learning the hard way what item car thieves want most. All right, let's get into it at 5:01. A baby girl left abandoned in her overturned stroller in Times Square by her heartless father on Tuesday night. We have more details this morning about this story. This was breaking when we came on to the air yesterday. So cops now looking for what they call a deadbeat dad. This 1-year-old was left alone, toppled over near West 44th and Broadway. This was around midnight yesterday. Her dad, apparently he was homeless, had gotten to a fight with the baby's mother, took the child out in the stroller, then walked him over to 44th and Broadway, then tipped over the stroller with the baby inside, and then ran off. Now, thankfully, in Times Square, there's a lot of people around at midnight, and people saw this right away.
A baby is a special gift. I have one right now, and 3 of them. That's really inhumane, and I really wish that people could, if they would, have more of a heart.
Yeah, police soon arrived. They rushed that child to the hospital. Thankfully, the baby okay. We now know it's 1 year old, this child. That's from the mother who said, yeah, that's my child, and then described what I guess it's her boyfriend. I don't think she's married to him. What the boyfriend looks like. And so now they're looking for him this morning.
I have a child, and I can't imagine abandoning my child. Even if you don't have children, it's something that it's mind-blowing. You think about it and you're wondering what could that person be thinking about, what could the circumstances be, and even so, it's inexcusable.
It totally is. So far, there's no sign of the dad. They say, of course, they'll arrest him when they find him. 5:02, a big roadblock in New York City's plan to move the city's largest homeless shelter.
The plan was to shut down the system's deteriorating intake center and Bellevue shelter on East 30th Street by the end of the month and move to a site on 3rd Street in the East Village. A judge Wednesday blocked that plan as she hears a lawsuit against the new site. It says the Mamdani administration used an executive order for a non-emergency and that it skipped public review and notice requirements. Homeless advocates say the suit is thinly disguised NIMBYism, people who just don't want a new shelter or 250 new homeless people in their neighborhood. In New York, I'm Andrew Whitman.
Let's go over to New Jersey, where prosecutors reported the largest drug bust ever in the Garden State. DEA says it seized loads of narcotics, weapons, enough fentanyl to kill millions. Investigators say the crime ring started and targeted people in Clifton, New Jersey. And apparently, New York's drug enforcement agency were acting on a tip from some sort of confidential informant. So those agents, along with New Jersey officers, pulled together a surveillance team outside 2 garages near an apartment complex in Clifton. And quickly, it only took 3 days to bring down this drug trade that agents put millions of doses of dangerous drugs on streets both in New Jersey and here in the city.
Law enforcement recovered in these raids over 40 kilograms of fentanyl, approximately 52 kilograms of methamphetamine, more than 2 kilograms of crack cocaine, also known as cocaine base.
For 2 days, agents watched drug transactions in Clifton by 2 confidential informants. The informants walked away with these huge bags that agents then confiscated, each containing a kilo of fentanyl-laced narcotics. Thank God this stuff's off the streets.
The approximately 40 kilograms of fentanyl are equal to millions upon millions of lethal doses of fentanyl, and that is why fentanyl is now considered a weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah, they also recovered an AK-47, a shotgun, and several handguns. A number of people involved in this drug trade. They are behind bars this morning. While we're over in New Jersey, state health officials there confirming a case of measles in Hudson County, and a resident who traveled out of the country came back home and then exposed others.
State health officials say people should keep an eye out for symptoms until mid-May if they were in Newark Liberty Airport's Terminal B last Tuesday the 14th early in the morning until 9 a.m. or if in Hackensack University Medical Center's Pediatric Emergency Department early last Friday morning through Saturday. Now, state health officials only said the person lives in Hudson County, so no word on how they're doing, but do say measles, highly contagious and usually spreads through sneezes and coughs. And the CDC lists symptoms including coughs, a high fever, runny nose, watery red eyes, and a red rash around the hairline. I'm Levon Putney.
Isn't that nice? 5:06, let's talk about Iran. Iran has ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Yesterday, Iran's Revolutionary Guard says it attacked 3 vessels in the vital shipping lane, escorted 2 others into Iranian waters yesterday. U.S. Central Command said yesterday that it had blocked 31 ships from entering Iranian ports so far, and that most of them have been oil tankers. Iranian officials say the blockade by the U.S. Central Command is a violation of the ceasefire. The White House, yesterday they said they're waiting to hear back from the current Iranian regime to figure out when peace talks could begin, or I guess continue, as things remain at a standstill today. Here's the White House press secretary.
There's a lot of internal division over there. The president understands that, and so we await their response.
That's Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt at the White House yesterday, says U.S. officials want to hear a unified response after most of the regime's top leaders have been killed, most of them in the early days of Operation Epic Fury. So that's the problem. They don't know exactly who they're dealing with and how much power they may have. President Trump extended the current ceasefire that was set to end last night. More from White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
Iran has gone from having the most lethal navy in the Middle East to now acting like a bunch of pirates. They don't have control over the strait. This is piracy that we are seeing on display.
Now, we're watching this morning as senior Iranian officials blaming Washington for the stalled peace negotiations due to the blockade of their country's ports. The Iranian president says they want dialogue and agreements with Washington, but they say the breach of the blockade, the commitments, the threats against them are the main obstacles to negotiations. And amid all that, the Navy Secretary here was let go yesterday.
The Pentagon issuing a statement which read, they were grateful for Phelan's service and wished him well in his future endeavors. Phelan was the first Navy Secretary in 15 years with no experience in the armed forces. A former businessman, Phelan was also a top GOP donor. His name appeared on the flight manifest for Jeffrey Epstein's private plane. He only appeared on one flight that traveled from London to New York and denied any knowledge of Epstein's crimes. I'm Phil Farrar.
WABC News Time, 5:09. The White House talking gas prices again yesterday, say they'll come down when the war in Iran ends. That's what Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent told a Senate Appropriations Subcommittee yesterday.
I think the conflict will end. I think gasoline prices will come back to where they were or perhaps lower prices.
But it was just a couple days ago that the Energy Secretary, Chris Wright, he said that gas prices may not fall below $3 a gallon until 2027. 7. Then you had the president yesterday refuting that, saying, no, they'll come down much quicker. So then here was Scott Bessent amid this Senate Appropriations Subcommittee hearing yesterday saying, no, gas prices will come down when the war ends.
How fast will the price of gasoline come down?
Again, that is path dependent on when the war and the conflict end.
AAA says the national average is $4.02 a gallon today. 5:10, House Republican leadership is for the first time speaking out about the sexual misconduct scandals involving several lawmakers, including former Texas Congressman Tony Gonzalez. Here's Speaker Mike Johnson, who says this should be a wake-up call to lawmakers on both sides of the aisle.
To protect women and anyone who feels like there's any inappropriate behavior whatsoever.
Johnson says he wants to make some new rules, tighten the ethics rules, and he hopes that all lawmakers are open to suggestions.
We're open to that, and I suspect you'd get bipartisan, almost hopefully unanimous support.
Gonzalez, he resigned from Congress last week after he was caught having an affair with a former staffer who died after setting herself on fire. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy addressing concerns over the potential for AI tools to replace human air traffic controllers.
Speaking to CBS News, Duffy sees potential for AI to make the nation's airspace safer, but when it comes to the technology replacing people, he said it's not going to happen. Duffy insisted that human controllers will retain final authority in important decisions. The Transportation Secretary is hoping AI can alleviate some of the pressure of the job as he pushes for the department to undergo a modernization effort. I'm at Mattinson.
While we're talking airlines and airports, a struggling airline carrier may be getting a financial lifeline now.
Spirit Airlines could be getting some much-needed help from the federal government. Multiple reports say the Trump administration is now close to a $500 million bailout deal to help Spirit stay afloat. The Florida-based discount carrier reportedly facing the risk of liquidation, and it's hit major headwinds contending with the sky-high fuel costs due to the Middle East conflict. The president told CNBC he'd love to see someone buy Spirit, and he noted the airline employs 14,000 people. He added, quote, maybe the federal government should help that one out. In New York, I'm Liz Warner.
5:12. Let's go out to California, where homelessness was one of the hotly contested topics at the California governor's debate last night in San Francisco. Republican candidate Chad Bianco, who's in the top 3 in the polls now, said the issue is caused by lots of factors.
We are not dealing with homeless, so stop calling it homeless. It has nothing to do with homes. This is drug and alcohol-induced psychosis, mental illness causing the other. It doesn't matter.
The Riverside County Sheriff blamed Democrats in the state legislature for not funding Prop 36, which was going to provide, he said, necessary treatment for drug addiction. Democrat Javier Becerra, who is now in some polls in the lead in California. He was at this debate last night. So was Steve Hilton, Katie Porter.
You were in my class, Mr. Hilton. You would learn in my bankruptcy and consumer protection class that the majority of homeless people in California are actually working.
Tom Steyer was there last night as well.
What I would do is make sure to keep as many people off the street, and if they're on the street, to get them off as fast as possible.
Okay, so this race has gotten awfully interesting since Eric Swalwell had to drop out. So it looks like all of his support went to Javier Becerra, the Democrat. And now the latest poll, at least one from 24 hours ago, has Javier Becerra in first place, Steve Hilton in second place, Chad Bianco in third. And as we've been telling you, the way it works in California is you have a primary that'll come up in June. They'll take the top 2 candidates, be it Republican or Democrat, or 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats, and that's who faces off in November. So if it were to end today, it would be Javier Becerra against Steve Hilton, the Republican, come November. WABC News Time 5:14. U.S. Attorney Janine Pirro says a major international car theft ring taken down now. She says thieves were using high tech to get the job done fast.
Just a sleek electronic device called an autel. And in under a minute, the car's brain is rewritten. The car is gone. in 60 seconds.
Piero says the cars were shipped in cargo containers that were labeled as furniture to Africa, where they were then sold on the black market. Part of a massive law enforcement push we're seeing nationwide, including busts out in California, where 33 luxury vehicles were stolen, worth about $2 million. In Hillsborough County, they had a multi-state ring there. Here's more from Janine Piero.
And in seconds, they reprogrammed Corvettes, Camaros, Honda Civics, and a Honda Civic, by the way, is the most popular stolen car in the country today. They are loaded onto shipping containers that are labeled furniture, and then the shipping containers are sent across the ocean to Africa, where they get top dollar on the black market.
We've been seeing this happening for years here in the tri-state. People having their cars stolen. They end up at one of the ports and then shipped off to Africa. So they've broken up one of the bigger rings. Definitely very sophisticated.
The cars are gone in seconds. They are stripped of their tracking devices. They are transported and funneled to ports, and in sealed containers, they're shipped across the ocean to Africa.
Yeah, so a lot of arrests made in the last couple of days in that latest ring. In a moment, we'll go down to Texas, where they're incredibly worried about a flesh-eating insect they say is right across the border right now. But first, 5:16, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. Good morning, Justin Ellick.
Good morning to you, Noam Layden. Start here on the Diamond in Queens, where it finally happened. Mark Viento's bloop day tie-breaking single in the 8th inning, and the Mets snapped their 12-game losing streak. I know. We were really looking forward to it hitting lucky number 13.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they eked it out last night, 3-2. It wasn't a very convincing victory over the Minnesota Twins in the middle game of that 3-game set. But the Mets do prevail, and now they are a really solid 1-12 in their last 13. How about that? So they get Juan Soto back. He went 1 for 3 with a single and a walk in his return from a strained right calf. But they do lose shortstop Francisco Lindor. He was removed with left calf tightness after laboring around the bases while scoring from first on Francisco Alvarez's go-ahead double in the 4th. The 12-game skid was the team's longest since August 2002. Starter Clay Holmes allowed 2 runs and 5 hits in 7 innings of work. Up next for the Mets, the righty Christian Scott will be called up from AAA Syracuse to make his first major league start since Tommy John surgery in 2024, getting the ball for a 7:10 p.m. first pitch from Queens in tonight's series finale rubber game. And out in Boston, Max Fried allowed 3 hits over 8 scoreless innings, and the Yankees extended their winning streak to a season-high 5 with a 4-1 win over the Red Sox, securing another series victory in the process. Ahmed Rosario hit a 3-run first-inning homer and had 4 RBI for the Yankees. Fried struck out 9 and walked 2, and the Yanks came within 1 out of a third straight shutout victory for the first time since 1962. Up next for the Yankees, the righty Cam Schlittler is slated to start the series finale tonight. The Yanks going for the series sweep there. First pitch from Boston is scheduled for a 6:10 p.m. first pitch. And we'll look ahead to Pittsburgh tonight, where it's round 1 of your NFL draft. The Las Vegas Raiders will pick first overall, projected to go there. Fernando Mendoza, the quarterback Heisman Trophy winner out of national champion Indiana. The Jets will pick second overall. They're probably going to go for this edge rusher out of Texas Tech, this guy, David Bailey. The Giants will pick, of course, 5th and 10th coming up in tonight's first round. They'll most likely get with Jordan Tyson, the wide receiver out of Arizona State, with that 5th overall pick. A lot of voices within the facility there with the Giants are saying that they might go with Jeremiah Love, the running back out of Notre Dame, if he does fall to 5, but he more than likely will go to the Titans at 4 overall. And then with the 10th overall pick, a lot of mumbling, I should say, about Caleb Downs, a safety out of Ohio State for the Giants. And then in that first round as well, the Jets, they pick 16th overall for the second time in the first round, and they'll probably go with Omar Cooper Jr., the wide receiver out of Indiana. Out on the hardwood, Pistons beat the Magic 98-83 out east. That series now knotted at a game apiece. And out in Oklahoma City, the Thunder beat the Suns 120-107. And OKC jumps out to a 2-0 series lead there. And the Knicks, they'll pick up their first round playoff series action with the Hawks tonight in Atlanta. That's a 7 p.m. start there. Hawks 1.5-point favorites. That series knotted at a game apiece. That is your Sports Gnome, and I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time, 5:21. A federal appeals court halting a California law that requires ICE agents to wear ID.
The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit made the ruling this morning after briefly putting the law on hold for review. The court is siding with the Trump administration, which called the mandate unconstitutional. California was requiring visible identification for all law enforcement, including immigration agents. Governor Gavin Newsom codified it last year by signing the No Vigilantes Act. The U.S. Department of Justice then sued the state. The new ruling means enforcement is paused until the court fully resolves the case. I'm Daniel Martindale.
The man that was arrested for stealing former Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's purse, remember that story? He's now been sentenced to 3 years behind bars.
50-year-old Mario Bustamante Leyva was arrested last April after security cameras spotted him stealing Noem's purse at D.C.'s Capital Burger restaurant. He was also charged with stealing several other purses and pleaded guilty in November to 3 counts of wire fraud and 1 count of theft. The U.S. Attorney's Office says the Chilean national is in the country illegally and will be deported when he's released from prison. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
Down to Texas, where a flesh-eating insect that's called the New World screwworm's been detected less than an hour south of the Texas border with Mexico. The agricultural commissioner there, Sid Miller, says it's not a matter of if it's coming there, but when it makes it there.
We've now got within 60 miles of the border. Without any question, Texas is going to be infested. We just have no means to stop it.
Yeah, he says the USDA has started sending farmers and ranchers what they call a screwworm detection kit that will let you see if you have them in your herd.
It's advancing farther north, and we're not stopping it. Just tells me they know what's coming if they're distributing test kits.
Yeah, and they're worried that these cows could get sick and die. When a cow gets sick from the parasitic fly, they're supposed to send a sample, at least from this detection kit, down to Washington so they can take a look at it. 5:23, while we're in Texas, a law there that requires public schools to post the 10 Commandments in classrooms, upheld by a federal appeals court. It's a victory for conservative activists who feel like the Bible verses should be part of the curriculum in Texas.
Acknowledging the historical foundations of our laws is not only permissible, it is fully consistent with the Constitution.
That's Jonathan Sines with the group Texas Values, says the ruling clears the way for groups who want to donate posters that have the 10 Commandments and will then be hung up in classrooms.
This is one of the most important religious liberty victories.
Yeah, so in its opinion released yesterday, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals said the state law does not punish anyone who rejects the 10 Commandments regardless of the reason. 5:24, worker satisfaction plummeting across the country right now.
A survey by the New York Federal Reserve shows just 10% of American workers are happy at the current job, but most of them are staying put. You see, they're worried about finding another one. The survey also found workers are pessimistic about pay, benefits, and the opportunity for advancement. In New York, I'm Daria Albinger.
5:24, Tesla reporting first quarter earnings that beat analysts' expectations. Revenue, however, came in weaker than predicted. During an earnings call yesterday, the CEO, Elon Musk, touched on the future of Tesla's robo-taxi.
We certainly hope to have unsupervised FSD or / robo-taxi operating, in, I don't know, a dozen or so states by the end of this year.
The tech billionaire admitted the vehicles have experienced some convenience issues as opposed to safety issues. For instance, he noted that the robo-taxis sometimes get paranoid or get stuck when they approach things like a railroad. The electric automaker reported yesterday that it plans to spend about $25 billion this year, more than double what the company typically spends on capital expenditures. A big chunk of the money will go to data centers and AI robotics. The NFL And Heinz are teaming up to create a new tradition at this year's draft in Pittsburgh.
The player selected with the 57th pick will be crowned Mr. 57, a nod to the iconic number on Heinz bottles. The draft pick will receive a custom red jacket as well as a lifetime supply of Heinz ketchup. Meanwhile, fans will be able to get $25 off their Uber Eats order from participating restaurants when the 57th pick is on the clock. That pick, which is currently owned by the Chicago Bears, will be selected during the second day of the draft on Friday night. I'm at Mattinson.
Let's bring it back right here into the city. 15 people, including 9 kids, recovering after a school bus rear-ended yesterday afternoon.
The school bus was going east on the Long Island Expressway when it was hit by another vehicle around 1:30 Wednesday near 108th Street in Rego Park. 9 kids and 6 adults were treated for minor injuries at Elmhurst Hospital. The vehicle that hit the bus took off. Police are investigating. In New York, I'm Andrew Whitman.
All right, in a moment, we'll tell you why excessive napping apparently is bad for you. I love nothing better than a nap.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Thursday, April 23rd. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Sunshine today, just a beauty on the way. High 73. Tonight and overnight, partly cloudy, low 54. And then Friday, clouds in the morning, sunshine in the afternoon. Not as warm, but still the high is going to be 64. If you're walking out the door with us right now, so happy you are, 43 and clear in Hempstead out on Long Island. It's 40 and partly cloudy in Little Falls over in New Jersey. And it's 43 and clear right outside our Midtown studios. WABC News Time 5:40. The air here apparently is not so great here in New York City and the tri-state area. We're learning that from the American Lung Association, who released the State of the Air report. And they say that the tri-state has the dirtiest air in the U.S. east of Texas. New York City, Newark region ranked 12th worst for ozone out of 226 metropolitan areas across the nation. This, according again to the American Lung Association, says we're breathing less fine particle pollution or soot, but more ozone or smog.
So the whole New York metro area is being exposed to failing levels of ozone. Fairfield County in Connecticut is actually the dirtiest county on the entire East Coast when it comes to ozone.
That's Michael Selbeck with the American Lung Association. So ozone gets created when the sun reacts with pollution. So Fairfield County, Connecticut, the dirtiest on the East Coast when it comes to ozone. In New Jersey, the worst is Gloucester County. And in New York, it's Suffolk County.
Air pollution doesn't just settle where it's created. It can travel, literally hundreds of miles.
All right, so the good news is the air we breathe is more cleaner than it was just 20 years ago before the Environmental Protection Agency started reducing the sulfur content of gasoline. Britain's King Charles, Queen Camilla, they're set to be here in the city as soon as next week.
The royal visit starts next Monday when King Charles and Queen Camilla arrive in D.C. to meet with President and Mrs. Trump. They make their way to New York 2 days later with plans to attend a number of events, including a visit to the 9/11 Memorial to meet with first responders and victims' families. And then it's on to Virginia for the King and Queen. Security is expected to be stepped up while the monarchs are here. And by the way, Americans are not required to bow to His and Her Majesty, but it is considered polite to do so. In New York, I'm Daria Albinger.
Let's go up to the Bronx, that devastating fire earlier this week. 75 people homeless from it. The fire on Belmont Avenue. And so now 2 people were killed, I should point out as well. Father Carlos Germosin of Our Lady of Mount Carmel says neighbors are eager to help. They've been donating food, clothing, toiletries for those who were left homeless. I mean, these people have nothing. They lost all their clothes, their homes.
We have each other's back, and it's responding to the gospel call. Like, we have to care for one another and love our neighbor as ourselves.
Yeah, so the 5-alarm blaze broke out in a 5-story building between Belmont and Camberling Avenues. It killed 2 people. One of them was a teenager, and injured 11 others, one who right now is in critical condition. The Red Cross is also helping those residents who've been displaced. We're learning more now about the man who abandoned a baby last night, or is actually now 2 nights ago in Times Square.
The NYPD says that he's a homeless man who's the baby girl's father. They also say they learned from the child's mother that the baby is a year old. Apparently, the parents argued and the man took the infant in her stroller to West 44th Street and 7th Avenue, knocked the stroller over, and ran off. The child was conscious, alert, and appeared to be unharmed, but is still being checked out in the hospital. Police say when they find the dad, he'll be charged with child abandonment and custodial interference. I'm Sarah Lee Kessler.
Uber has rolled out this app now where you can pick to have a female driver if you're a woman and are worried about having a man drive you around the city. So there is an issue with this, and you might guess what it is there's not many female Uber or Lyft drivers. Out of more than 178,000 taxi and limousine commission licensed drivers in the city, just about 11,000 of them are women. But they are in more demand now because you can use this option. Women are happy to have it.
I think that's a really good idea. I think I like it because I always sometimes feel a little scared from the stranger person.
I would feel safer, especially at night, driving and requesting drivers at night.
But there is that supply issue here in the city and nationwide. Only 15 to 18% of rideshare drivers in the U.S. are women. It's even less here in the city. Just 6% of drivers are women. And so the women like the idea of having another woman drive them. They feel safer, but they're not necessarily willing to wait because the wait times are high.
You have the situation where you need this driver and there's only 5 male drivers in your area. You're kind of prioritizing your safety or actually getting somewhere.
Now, Uber says it started the program because women requested it, though the rideshare company is facing a lot of lawsuits from women who say they were sexually assaulted by drivers. 2 judgments against the rideshare company this year alone. Veronica Martinez is one of the few women in the city who is an app-based driver. She's been doing it for 11 years now.
I know some women may think that it's risky. I like to pick up everyone and anyone and to give everyone a chance.
But she does have a message to female drivers who are worried about getting into a car with a man.
Always tell them, the TLC drivers here in New York City, we have to pass a background check, a criminal background check. We take a drug test, an annual drug test, and we're fingerprinted. It's safe.
Yeah, she says there's no reason to fear. In a moment, we'll tell you why New York City wants to throw a ticker tape parade soon and who it's for. We'll get into that in just a moment. But first, 5:45, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk, and here's Justin Ellick.
Thank you, Noah Maladen. Start on the Diamond in Queens, where the rare happened. Mark Viento's blooped a tie-breaking single in the 8th inning, and the Mets snapped their 12-game losing streak finally. Beat the Minnesota Twins 3-2 after getting 1 star back, only to see another exit with a similar injury. Juan Soto went 1 for 3 with a single and a walk in his return from a strained right calf, but shortstop Francisco Lindor was removed with left calf tightness after laboring around the bases while scoring from first on Francisco Alvarez's go-ahead double in the 4th. The 12-game skid was the team's longest since August 2002. Starter Clay Holmes allowed 2 runs and 5 hits in 7 innings of work. Up next for the Mets, the righty Christian Scott, who will be called up from AAA Syracuse to make his first major league start since Tommy John surgery in 2024. Getting the ball for a 7:10 p.m. first pitch from Queens in tonight's series finale rubber game. In Boston, Max Fried allowed 3 hits over 8 scoreless innings, and the Yankees extended their winning streak to a season-high 5 with a 4-1 win over the Red Sox, securing another series victory in the process. Named Rosario hit a 3-run first-inning homer and had 4 RBI for the Yanks. Fried struck out 9 and walked 2, and the Yankees came within 1 out of a third straight shutout victory for the first time since 1962. Up next for the Yankees, the righty Cam Schlittler is slated to start the series finale tonight. Yanks going for the sweep. First pitch from Boston is scheduled for 6:10 p.m. We'll look ahead to Pittsburgh tonight, where the 2026 NFL Draft is set and ready to get underway. Las Vegas, the Raiders will pick first overall, and Fernando Mendoza will, in all likelihood, go first overall. The Heisman-winning quarterback from national champion Indiana, the Jets, will pick second overall. All reports saying they'll go with edge rusher David Bailey from Texas Tech. Giants will pick 5th and 10th overall in tonight's first round. More than likely will go with Jordan Tyson, the wide receiver out of Arizona State, with that 5th overall pick, unless Jeremiah Love, the running back from Notre Dame, falls to that slot. But he, in all likelihood, will go to Tennessee at 4 overall. And then picking again at 10, it is the Giants. They'll more than likely go with Caleb Downs, the safety out of Ohio State. And the Jets will pick for the second time in the first round at 16 overall. All reports saying they'll go with Omar Cooper Jr., the wide receiver out of Indiana.
You're not going to stay up and watch this thing, are you?
I will watch the first 10 picks.
That's really? That's an investment, even the first 10 picks.
I know, it takes a while. Because
they do the whole nonsense plotting.
Yeah, and the Eagles don't pick until the 20s. So definitely not going to stay up for that. I don't know. I might go back on that statement. No, I've got a lot of time to decide, so we'll see.
I can't think of anything more boring to watch.
I know.
Than a draft.
It's cool to watch the first overall pick. Like, it'll be cool to watch Mendoza go up there.
5 minutes, 10 minutes, then you're done.
Of course, and then you got to watch these talking heads sit there for 85% of the time and talk about how every single one of these guys is going to be the next superstar in the NFL.
Yeah.
Why he's going to have a bust, and I can't know how. So we'll head to the hardwood. We're looking ahead to tonight, 7 p.m. tip-off. The Knicks, they're in Atlanta now for their first round playoff series, I should say, against the Hawks. That's Game 3 series, knotted at a game apiece. Hawks 1.5-point favorites tonight. And last night on the hardwood, the Pistons beat the Magic 98-83 out east. And Game 2 there, that series knotted at a game apiece. And at Oklahoma City, the Thunder jumping out to a 2-0 series lead over the Suns. They win 120-107. That's your Sports Noam, and I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time, 5:50. New York City is debating whether to put on a ticker tape parade for the Artemis II astronauts. The mayor was asked about it during a press conference yesterday, saying, hey, are you going to throw a ticker tape parade for these astronauts?
That is something that we've brought back to the team and are looking into the logistics of what that would require. We'll be sure to keep people updated as we have an answer to it.
Of course, I imagine cost would be the biggest thing. Astronauts Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen set a record for traveling farther into outer space than any other human before. The last parade for astronauts here in the New York City was 1969, and that was Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins after they landed on the moon. 5:51, city council members considering a social media time limit for kids. Part of the legislation that's under consideration would limit the time kids ages 17 and younger spend on social media to an hour each day. New Yorkers say that sounds good in theory, but how do you enforce it?
I'm not really sure what kind of apps or initiatives they would have, because I feel like at the end of the day there might probably always be ways around it.
I don't know how they would implement it. Maybe give them an incentive. That's the only thing that works. Money talks.
It does. You have to have an incentive and you have to be all over them. The package of proposals would include requiring city agencies to report social media's impact on students' mental health and study how their online activity informs in-person interactions.
That's a good question. I feel like really enforcing it and really being, what's the word for it, headstrong about it.
Well, I don't have all the answers, but I think that's a start. That's a start.
Yeah.
That's something to talk about, something to think about. It's a conversation.
Yeah, limiting their time is huge. I believe in that. New York City unveiling a new plan to plant more trees. Yesterday was Earth Day. The Parks Commissioner, Tricia Shimomura, is releasing the city's first ever urban forest plan, which aims to increase the area of the city that's covered by tree canopy.
When we talk about 30% canopy, we're talking about cooling down neighborhoods. We're talking about making neighborhoods more resilient to storms. We're talking about really taking better care of our seniors.
It's a pretty ambitious effort because the city currently has 23.5% tree canopy cover from tree leaves and branches. The goal of this urban forest plan is to make that 30% by 2040. Right now, there's an estimated 7 million trees across the city. 5:53. Let's go down to what was once the town that I lived in, that I was raised in, Trenton, New Jersey, where apparently things have not changed, unfortunately, very much. There, 5 people have been victims of gunfire just in the last 7 days. The violence increase in the city has people just, beside themselves. Detectives, Mercer County Prosecutor's Office confirming that 5 people were shot, 7 days. A number of them passed away. And you have Trentonians talking about what is decades-long cycle of violence in the capital city. I mean, it goes back to the days when I lived there.
You know, I know these people. I live here. I grew up with some of these guys. Really just coming back out, like I said, to get with the community, to see any way we possibly can help to stop these issues from happening.
Unfortunately, I don't think there's much to stop it, or I haven't figured it out in all these years. 5:54, let's stay in New Jersey. Dozens of car owners facing hundreds of dollars in repairs after thieves left a trail of destruction in Teaneck. Several Honda drivers across Teaneck woke up to broken locks, torn apart steering wheels. They had their cars broken into. Here's somebody who woke up to find out that not just her, but her family members' cars had been broken into as well in Teaneck.
Airbag was gone, completely gone. And then I went in the house and I'm almost crying, and I told my youngest daughter, and she comes out and she looks at her sister's car, her airbag is stolen. And then she looks at hers, her airbag is stolen.
Yeah, the airbag has become apparently the hottest item to steal. The thieves broke the locks. Sometimes they smashed the windows. One college student says her day was ruined because now she's got this huge bill.
I feel hurt that somebody came, and we don't know who, we don't know where they're from, came and violated all my 2 daughters and myself and my neighbor.
Yeah, I cried.
Yeah, so Teaneck's mayor says that he's confirmed at least 11 incidents, but police say they think it's dozens more where these airbags have been stolen just over the last week or so.
One car was actually stolen, and the reason why it was stolen was when they go to grab the bag, they check to see if the car is on or could be turned on, and the fob was in the car. Make sure your cameras are there. Perhaps parking that in the driveway. It shouldn't be the way people live, but unfortunately that's a time that we're dealing with right now where cars are expensive, repair pricing is expensive, and of course airbags are in need after every accident.
Yeah, so a club across the steering wheel, I guess apparently they say that serves as a deterrent. Remember the club? I guess apparently it's back, and maybe you need it now so nobody steals your airbag. 5:56 out to Long Island, where the search is on for someone who's been deliberately killing geese there. The SPCA offering a $7,500 reward for information that leads to the arrest of a heartless driver and hop hog.
A couple of times I'm seeing like 2 birds dead and the Canadian geese run over. So there's someone out there that's just doing this terrible, inhumane thing.
Yeah, authorities looking for someone in a white Jeep Grand Cherokee who's been driving around late at night, deliberately running over geese. There's disturbing video of this, but who's that? You got to be really a sicko to do something like that. While we're out on Long Island, 2 women arrested yesterday for operating a brothel at a home in Sayville. Neighbors say they saw cars coming in and out of this house often. They didn't think for sure that it was a brothel. They were pretty surprised to hear that.
It's quiet here, and there's never any trouble. These people were like coming in and out. Strangers, though, that's scary. Right here, on a residential street.
Yeah, that's not good. Investigators arrested a 55 and a 41-year-old woman who were advertising online. They used the names. Their names online were Flame and Mary, and I guess that was enough to get crews in there to use their services. During the search yesterday, detectives recovered a bunch of massage tables, cash, and electronic devices believed to be connected to the operation.
Thanks for listening to the News Hour with Noam Laden. You can hear the News Hour with Noam Laden weekday mornings at 5 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?